Hey everybody, it's Giordi here from Tech with Giordi. Today I'm excited to share with you how I got into tech without a degree. So it's been a wild ride, and if you're thinking about a tech career, I hope this inspires you. So please hit the subscribe button if you're new here and let's get started. Cool. So my journey really kicked off after high school 2017 where I just finished my matric exams, my high school exams, and then I basically got like a holiday job. And then I was working a few different jobs after that, working in restaurants, that sort of thing, getting experience. And I actually came across, I always wanted to study. I wanted to take my education further, and then I actually came across this video up here. I don't know, I'll put it here. And this video spoke about how this person actually taught himself how to code in 3 months, and he got a job. And he's in America. His name is Chris Sean, and obviously he's in America. I'm in South Africa, so it's very different. But I was motivated. I was like, hey, this person learned how to code. They went to an online website called Treehouse, and and yeah, they learned how to code, and within 3 months he got hired. Obviously, this is not everyone's story, and it's good to understand that, like, your journey may take longer, your journey may be quick like his, but it's not to rush it as well. So I think at the time when I saw that video, in my mind I immediately felt like I could do this in 3 months as well. And I feel like that happens a lot when you're learning and consuming things online and hearing someone else's experiences. So it's good to understand that although it may work for one person a certain way, it could look different for you as well. And you should want to enjoy the journey and the process of learning and being at a place where you can understand everything you need to be like efficient or proficient, I guess. Anyways, so I watched this video, and then yeah, he learned HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and he got a job. And and I think his job was one of those jobs that someone needed a website and they just needed the skills that he had at the time, although he was still learning to code because he didn't do much in 3 months. Like, you can't do too much. um but it really inspired me, so I started teaching myself how to code actually. So I started going on YouTube. This was 20 I finished high school in 2016. So this was like 2017 when I was working between like jobs I was doing, and I started to teach myself how to code 2017, 2018. Like, I was just watching YouTube videos, doing like HTML courses, very, very, very basic stuff. So just trying to get the basics, and that sort of thing. That's what happened to me up until 2018, where I felt like I really lacked motivation and I wanted a bit more structure because I was teaching myself how to code, but at the same time, like, the resources that I wanted to use, like, they were paid for. I didn't have any money. And so I was just using YouTube, and like, it didn't really give like much structure at the time. So I even wanted to go to a coding bootcamp actually, to kind of like help me, to give me the structure I needed, to give me the support I needed, and also just to give me the motivation as well. Because I'm, in a coding bootcamp, you basically like with other students as well for like 6 months, and you come to class every day or it's online, and you basically learn alongside them as well. So I felt like that bootcamp space environment was something that I was going to thrive in because I was already teaching myself how to code. So I just needed the support, I needed the community, and maybe the network as well. So those were the things that led me to go to a bootcamp. And so the bootcamp I actually studied at, so I studied at two bootcamps at the same time. It's gonna be a bit confusing, but just bear with me. So I studied at two bootcamps at the same time: Code Space Academy and Life Choices Academy. So Codespace Academy actually taught us, and they facilitated everything. They ran everything, and Life Choices Academy was the, like, they were like, they had the venue, and they funded like the course that I studied. So yeah, basically I'm a graduate of both. Okay, it sounds a bit confusing, but I'm a graduate of both. Um, yeah, so how that actually happened is my journey kicked off in 2018 with the coding bootcamps. I then studied basically HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, Node.js, and how the bootcamp is structured is it's a 6 months course, and then within that 6 months, it's like a crash course, right? So you learn everything you need to learn to get like a very very basic entry level internship, right? So in 6 months, you're not going to learn everything you need to understand. On the job from day one, but you're going to learn how to troubleshoot, or more how to Google correctly, how to ask the right questions, where to go when, to build what and to find what resource. So that was basically what that 6 months was. We did a lot of peer to peer learning together. And then yeah, we got a portfolio, very very important. So when you don't have a qualification or degree like me, or like us at the time, where we don't have anything to show besides our portfolio. And so yeah, portfolios are super important, and this is basically a website where you can showcase your projects, your assignments, anything really that can help to just communicate what without you having to say, I've done this. You can just show like a nice pretty website. um, yeah, so the boot camp is 6 months, and it's very immersive. So most boot camps, like, they will sort of include everything you need for you to have a good all-around experience. And so I would highly, highly recommend like boot camps if you want structure, you want support, and you want the motivation, because sometimes you can teach yourself how to code. um, Maybe back then it was probably more relevant. It's just a little bit harder. It was a little bit harder to stay motivated, have the focus, because there's so many different resources, so many different tools, um, and you find yourself going nowhere. And you're like, hey, let me just get a mentor. Let me just find a boot camp. And some people go to university, which gives you that structure that you need as well. Because it almost seems as if, like, we love structure, and we want to be told you have to do this like this. Anyways, that's a different different discussion. Yeah, so after the bootcamp, the nice thing about bootcamps is that they prepare you for interviews as well, which is what you don't get if you were to teach yourself. um, they give you interview preps. There's people that are more experienced and that are more knowledgeable than you. They have a network of reliable, um, like, companies and stuff like that, networks. And just there's like a wide range of opportunities that bootcamp brings to you, similar to college or university. Like, you have access to resources, you have access to people, networks. And I think coding bootcamps do that very well. Like my coding bootcamp, like, they helped us a lot. Like Codespace Academy, like, they helped us a ton with those sort of things. Yeah, so very very important. And after the interview prep, you also get interviews as well, which is a nice plus, honestly speaking. Like, interviews are kind of lined up for you. Obviously you are going into the interview alone, so you have to make sure that you do your best to prepare, understand the company, their values, the tech stack, what do they expect of you. And at this point, actually, I think I need to stress that after 6 months, you are basically like just before a junior. You're like an intern, right? So an intern, some companies may start you off as a junior, but really, like, you don't know enough to even be considered a junior. So after 6 months, you're gonna get an internship, and then from the internship, you should be able to pick yourself up, learn what you need to learn, understand. And after a year or so, then I think you become a junior, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But after a year, you become more of a junior, a year or so. and then you're more junior. But when you get hired after the 6 months, normally you're gonna be more like interning, but you could get some junior positions as well, and they could just train you as well. So just keep in mind that yeah, it's gonna be like intern, junior, that sort of thing. Um, yeah, after that you sort of like get interviews, and then you can get an offer as well. I actually got two offers, if I'm not mistaken. I got two offers when I finished, when I graduated. One was at another coding bootcamp, and another one was at a car manufacturing company, ironically. And the car one was the first offer that I got, and I actually wanted to go for the coding bootcamp one. And then, yeah, like, so I landed my first role at a different coding bootcamp. This is where I got to mentor and teach others as well. It was a fantastic opportunity. I was there and I learned a ton. I was working as a coding mentor and instructor. I did some lecturing as well from time to time. So it was really like a holistic experience for me, if I think about it. But I think I knew that I needed a bit more experience in the industry because my first job in tech was a coding mentor, like I'm teaching and stuff. And I really felt like I needed more experience. So in 2020, I moved to a software development firm where I was working on full stack projects. Now, full stack just means front end and back end. So you're working with the design or the interface. So like what users see, the buttons, the colors, and the back end is more like the logic, the business logic. So the behind the scenes, when you click on this button, what happens, behind the scenes. And then I got exposed to a lot of different things from there, and later on I moved to like a digital agency focused on like creative solutions. And then I've been like working across multiple industries, from finance to logistics to payment gateways. I guess that is finance. To like vehicle licensing products. That sort of things I was working at, and I've been exposed to e-commerce as well. Yeah, and all of that, like, I've been exposed to because of the skills I've picked up along the way. And currently I'm at a company where I'm building innovation apps, that sort of thing, and tools. And I'm still learning along the way every single day. This year I actually picked up my UNISA. So I've been working for a while from 2020. And yeah, I'm picking up my UNISA as well, part-time. So just trying to manage that on the side. So, what I've learned along the way is, first and foremost, is building a portfolio. So, having a portfolio, as I mentioned in the beginning, is super, super important. Portfolio really helps to get your foot in the door, especially if you don't have any qualifications or anything. Like, this is what people see when they look at your CV or your profile. They want to understand what have you done, because that helps them to know what are you capable of, or what can you do, what can't you do, and what you still need to grow in, or like what areas. Portfolio helps to examine that too. So it's super important. At least in the beginning, some people argue portfolio, but in the beginning, like it doesn't hurt to have a portfolio. Just have it. Um, I think it's a good thing to have, but as time goes, maybe you don't need a portfolio because your experience will be your portfolio, if that makes sense. Secondly, is networking. So networking in your community is super important. So like for me, for example, anyway, actually, what I mean by networking is basically just having a community of like-minded people, whether it's students, whether it's business people, that you can share and collaborate information and stuff like that is super important. That's what I mean by network. And there's a ton of ways we can explore that as well. For me, teaching at the first coding bootcamp really opened doors for me, because I was able to network and build like relationships with my students, and understand like different people, that sort of thing. And then third would just be like balancing, work, studies, and personal growth. That's not easy, but it's definitely doable. And in the industries I've worked in, from education, from edtech to ecom to creative industries. Um, I've learned like how to be adaptive, and it also has taught me like adaptive skills, real world problem solving, that sort of thing. And I would just stress, I think networking is super important because I think if I were to start over, I would definitely network a lot more. I network just going to meetups, going to events, speaking to people, understanding what's happening in the industry, but also sharing. Sharing what you're building, what you're learning, where you want to grow. The tech space is really a space where you can learn what you need to learn and demonstrate the skills and the competencies that you need and network, and you can become like something, which is really cool. It has its challenges, obviously, like any other industry, but there's definitely like a perk. You know you don't need a degree to get into tech, and a lot of people, including myself, don't have or don't have yet, because I'd still like to get my degree sometime. But now it's a different motivation, if that makes sense. Yeah, like those are the kind of skills I have, and the things that I've learned along the way. And thank you for joining me on this journey. This is just the beginning. Expect more experiences being shared, a lot more questions, a lot more career tips here and there, and just general like documenting my journey. I've got some really cool ideas, some next steps. We're probably going to be looking at like boot camps in South Africa, like what they offer, where you can go and study if you want to go study. But I also want to do more tech tutorials and career tips on Tech with Giordi. So please drop a comment. What industry are you interested in? Like if you're motivated by this, and subscribe if you'd like to know more and hear more about it. I catch you. I'll catch you on the next episode, on the next video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and thank you again for watching.